Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Conversations with Christopher. We have a special guest today, is one of our favorite real estate agents. She's going to tell us a little bit about working with a real estate agent and what that means. So welcome, Jackie. How are you?
Good. Thank you so much for having me today. My name is Jackie von Thun, and I'm a realtor with Realty One Group Gold Standard. We're located in Peters Township. So just a little bit about myself. I am a full-time real estate agent. I've been with Realty One Group now going on about 3 years, but I have been licensed since 2005. Earlier in my career, I did work for a different broker. In addition to that, 2 different builders in the Pittsburgh market.
And that's interesting because that gives you really a much wider area of knowledge, I think, than folks who've never been, with a builder and understanding how that works and how it's a little different, huh?
Yeah, it's a little bit intimidating. I remember when I was a new home sales rep for a builder, a lot of times realtors they were scared to bring clients in, I think because they didn't fully understand the process. But if you're an agent and you have a client who's looking for new construction, I mean, it's a great way for them to go if they're not finding something that they, don't see that they want in the market. So yeah, it's, having that background, it's almost like a construction background because you get to see all the moving parts of the building process.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely a nice thing to have. So, and that sort of leads into the first question we had for you, which is, why does somebody want to work with an agent versus, try and do it themselves?
Well, I think the biggest thing is that, we're the professionals. So we see what's happening in the market. And now, I mean, as you know, everything's online. So people are looking online, trying to come up with ways to sell on their own, don't fully understand the process. So, there's a lot that goes into it, whether you're looking to buy or you're looking to sell, whether it's working with a municipality, working with a closing company, doing your home inspections, reply to inspections. So, sometimes I feel like I'm a therapist, a real estate attorney, a township member, figuring out, what things need to be taken care of. So I think that's the biggest part is, having that professional on your side.
Yeah, I don't think people quite understand all the moving parts. Having gone through the purchase and sale of homes and now construction, I truly appreciate the need for the real estate agent and all the things that they bring to the table. It's a lot. I mean, there's a lot going on there.
Yeah, and it can be intimidating too, because you have to think about it. It's, I know this sounds so cliche, but it's not something that you do every day. And I can say in my experience as being an agent, every transaction is different, whether it's something, new that comes up in the contract or, when the title search is done or when the home inspection is done. So there's, I try to break it down to my clients in chunks instead of just throwing everything at them. That way, okay, this is the first step. Then once we finish that, then we do this. So it makes the process a little bit smoother, and communication is so important too.
Right, and that sort of, answers that second question there about how do you assist people with the big picture. So it's all of those things you just mentioned and more in terms of helping them figure out what they want.
Yeah, and a lot of it too depends on the client. If it's someone who's downsizing, or someone who's a first-time home buyer, you might have to explain things a little bit differently, or, they may have experience if they're relocation people and they've been moving, the past 10 years. So it really depends on your client.
So when somebody meets with you, what's sort of the expectation should they have? What's a typical first meeting with you like?
Well, I like to have a checklist because I feel that makes it a lot easier than just, talking about real estate. Again, we're in a day and age where everyone's online, looking at stuff, watching HGTV. Reality, that's not how it works in real estate. So for me, I like to have my checklists in place, depending on if you're a buyer or if you're looking to sell your home. That way I can leave that with you and it's a little bit easier to digest after our first, meeting and conversation. And
Yeah,
even now, we can meet face to face now too. I mean, with precautions, even though COVID's happening.
yeah, I know one of the big things I always like is again, have those expectations and what
Hmm.
what should I expect of you? What are you expecting of me? That way we're on the same page and there's no, nothing just pops up and we get caught off guard. I always find that that's what causes breakdowns in communication.
Yeah, yeah, and really just again, that's the communication part too. That's so key. Again, there's so many times where, if we're looking at a house, then after that, there's the offer, then there's inspections, there's appraisals. And then if you're working with the seller, there's getting the house listed, your professional pictures, your video. So just communicating with them, it all comes back to the communication, in my opinion, because, at the end of the day, people don't do this every day and they're nervous and there's emotions and, they might be building a house. So they're selling a house and then you're trying to coordinate closing times. And then there might be another person involved in selling their house who's buying that house. So again, a lot of those moving parts just to, keep everybody calm.
Yeah, and there's a lot of dominoes that have to fall sometimes, as you just said.
Hmm.
If you're buying one house and you're selling another house, and then whoever's buying your house, and all those things need to really be coordinated, and
Hmm.
or because one domino doesn't go down and it messes up everything else.
Yeah. And I love that part though. I like the organization part of it, of knowing, okay, this happens, or this is worst case scenario, this is best case scenario. And that goes back to kind of feeling like a therapist, is keeping the client calm because they have so much going on, whether they're relocating to a new city or say that they're moving, with a family with kids in a new school district. So helping them, assist them, and those parts too. I really love just being a resource to people even after closing.
When does somebody reach out to you? Is it I'm thinking of buying a house, or I'm thinking of selling, or is it I'm ready to do it? Is like what's the time frame?
Thinking, because a lot of times if people are just thinking, they're like, oh, my house is too small, or I need to downsize. So the thinking process, that's a great start to have a conversation with me, because what's nice, I could still meet with you and go over everything just so you understand it a little bit better. In addition to that, I recommend my clients setting them up on the home search, whether they're looking to buy or sell. That way they can see what's happening in the market. Like, oh, okay, well, she has me set up with this school district. The house is similar to mine, and this house is being listed. So they become a little bit familiar with the market as well.
Yeah, and I think it's important for people to know what's going
Mhm.
on out there. So again, back to expectations, you can set your expectation for what you should be spending and what you might get when you sell.
Right. Yeah. And in regards to a buyer, working with a loan officer, that's going to be your first step, because you're not going to know what your buying power is. So there's no reason to waste anybody's time looking at houses that, aren't in your budget. And in addition to that, you might be pre-approved for 500,000, but you might only want a house payment that's 1,000. So that's going to make a difference into what you're looking for as well. So from a buyer standpoint, that's going to be your first contact, is speaking with a lender.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. People, again, don't necessarily know what they don't know. And
Yep.
so, reaching out to you earlier than later is probably the better way to go.
Yeah, I always recommend that, just so they can start. I mean, you have to start somewhere.
And then our last question for you, just something fun. So November is National Inspirational Role Models Month. So do you have a role model?
Oh, geez, you put me on the spot with this one. Look, honestly, the first person that came to my mind is Dion Malish, my owner. She's amazing. She's so creative, and she, started this business here. Well, she was in graphic design, had a business there, has been in real estate, and then she decided to, start, a brokerage here. And, we've only been around for 3 years, and now we have 4 offices, over 100 and some agents. So I just think, for just the passion that she has and how she is constantly trying to make us better, whether it's, okay, here's a graphic, or here's a book we're reading, just something to keep us going and motivated. So I would have to say her.
That sounds like a great role model for you and for others.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
good. Well, again, Jackie, thank you, for spending a little bit of time with us. Jackie's information is right here on the screen. If you'd like to reach out to her, you can reach her at the phone number you see or on her website. You can also find her on multiple social media platforms, as I do, or just out and about around the South Hills area.
Yeah.
You will find
True.
her from time to time. So, but
Well,
again, thank you.
yeah, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate this opportunity.
Well, thanks everybody for joining us for this most recent conversation with Christopher, and we will have more coming up soon. So thanks a lot, and we'll see you next time.